Do you get in trouble, Tim, for not taking the rubbish out?
No, but I am the rubbish man. In Japanese, you can omit certain parts of the sentence. So in Japanese, when you want to ask someone to take the rubbish out, you can just say the name and rubbish. So my wife is Japanese. Sometimes she just says, Tim, rubbish. As if, like, Tim, you're rubbish. There's different ways to interpret it. Hi everyone, it's Tim here, and I'm joined by Archie, Franz, and Lachy, Nicolson.
Hey.
G'day, Tim. G'day, Lachlan.
That's good to be together. Is it Franz or Franz? Is that my South African coming out?
That was South African, mate.
That's very South African of me. It comes out every now and then. I'm confused.
That's all right. Well, I quite like it.
I'm glad we got that cleared up after 3 seasons.
Franz, it's the fancy Franz. Welcome to season 3 of Mind Over Money. So it's Valentine's Day as we record and launch this episode, and money and relationships both have problems. So if we want to have a great Valentine's Day, we want to get in and resolve any problems that we do have. Maybe you had a big argument with your spouse because they didn't take the rubbish out. I think the same can be true for our finances. If we have a problem, big or small, if we avoid it, we can maybe miss out on the good life that is available. So maybe your finances have gotten off to a rocky start this year. Got through the Christmas period, all the credit cards, I don't know, or the bunch of goals that you had maybe set up, and you're already in February. It's shocking that it's whatever date it is, February the 14th today, and maybe you feel like giving up already. But today we wanted to just really encourage you. So if you're nodding your head to that, just keep listening, because this conversation, I believe, will help you create a plan to move forward and feel great about your finances.
Yeah, so good.
Sounds good. Do you get in trouble, Tim, for not taking the rubbish out?
No, but I am the rubbish man. In Japanese, you can omit certain parts of the sentence. So in Japanese, when you want to ask someone to take the rubbish out, you can just say the name and rubbish. So my wife is Japanese. Sometimes she just says, Tim, rubbish. As if, like, Tim, you're rubbish. There's different ways to interpret it. So that's how I know I need to take the rubbish out, is when my wife calls me rubbish. And I get right on that. So, no dramas there.
Yeah, it's cool. I got to do it twice. I got to take it out to the bin. Then I got to put the bin in the car and take it to the dump.
The benefits of living in nature.
Yes.
Let's jump in. We've got 3 tips to help you reconnect with your finances and have finances that you can love. So tip number 1 is to get the big picture. Archie, what do we mean when we say that?
So the big picture, it's too easy for us to focus on one thing and one thing only, such as a problem, and actually miss out on seeing where we're heading and what the big picture is. My brother had this as a classic recently. He was talking to someone, and the person he was talking to said, I'm really struggling here because the piece of carpet in front of me, the pattern is not correct, and it's doing my head in. And my brother said, oh, well, look, just focus on the stuff around the mat and see if that helps. And the guy was just overwhelmed with, how that just took him away from that problem. And he got his brain back and he could actually function properly again. So that's really what we're talking about here, is get that big picture, see what season you're in, see what's going on, where you're heading to, and not focus on just the one problem. Yes, we need to fix our problems, but if we just keep focusing there, we really get stuck.
And often those small problems or the small faults, as an example of a relationship maybe, they're not the real problems. So, in finances, we might be thinking the problem is we're paying too much of a higher interest rate right now, versus the real problem might be, are we actually getting in and paying off the home?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Problems can be so contextual. And if we look at someone else's problem, they have a completely different set of circumstances, and then we think, that's the problem. But that you could be completely missing your own personal situation. Be like, okay, you have a very different financial situation. And yeah, that when we step back and zoom out, it's easier to see, okay, what do we need to do in our finances? Get that big picture.
And look, the media are classic. All the clickbait in media is designed to get people focused on a problem. So the problem is the housing market. The problem is the interest rates. The problem is, too much debt or whatever. It's just all this clickbait. that's out there that gets us focused on the problem or thinking what this is the problem. And if we don't have the big picture, we can't actually put it in perspective. And, when we talk house prices go through cycles, and we're just in a cycle that I've gone through probably 3 times in my lifetime, probably even 4 times. And it shouldn't stop us from buying a house. It's just a cycle, and life goes on. And if it stops you from buying a house, that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, I think just that is really encouraging to hear that it's happened before. Nothing new, because we can feel like it's the end of the world. But like you've said in the past, rates have been higher than this, and things have been tighter in the past. So I think that's encouraging. Just saying that kind of helps us step back and zoom out a bit and get the right perspective.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, our second tip is to hit the problems head on. So it's important to understand that problems are seasonal. We kind of just mentioned this, but just like in relationships, things don't always last forever. I don't mean that with relationships, but I mean that in regards to health problems, hopefully. And we go through different things at different moments in time. And I think it's important to understand, okay, this is not forever, but there's a season to this. And then when we know that, we can say, okay, we can tackle this season's problem because it might be unique to this season.
Yeah, it is seasonal. People, when they get married, they'll uncover a bunch of new problems, and they might think that that's a sign that it's bad, like this, did I get into the wrong marriage? But actually, every season does have new problems. So it's actually a sign that you've moved into a new season. So you might get a pay rise, then you have a problem with tax. You buy your first home, and then the air conditioner dies. You buy a car and then you got the car repayments, or the car dies, So problems are always with us, and they're going to change every season. So the best thing to do is just get in and hit the problem head on, so that it doesn't linger into the next season.
Yeah, which brings us to, so how do we solve the problems? Because we do need some way of actually solving problems. So when it comes to our relationships, sometimes the only way to actually resolve problems is to get some counselling and, actually work through the problem with someone else who can get a different perspective, who can actually show you the bigger picture, and help you understand what's going on. So, and that's again where Waymaker comes in, is, you're working with an advocate to help you look at your cash flow, utilize tools to actually, figure out, is this actually a problem, or, is this something that we need to work on? Or do we need to be looking at the bigger picture and start working on things that are going to become a potential problem in the future that we can actually fix now? And so that they don't become a problem in the future, especially when we're looking at seasons. We know that seasons are going to change the way our finances work. And I think that's, we've got to burst the bubble that everything's perfect and that we can have the perfect job and the perfect life. That just doesn't exist. And except in movies, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And but even they had to work through their problems.
Isn't that the one where they're trying to get killed the whole way through the movie?
Yeah, aren't they spies?
Different problems.
Yeah, I like that point about being proactive, jumping in. You might be hitting a problem head on and it's a small problem, but you've actually stopped a bigger problem down the line. So cutting up the credit card today could solve you from a massive headache in the future, or getting in and paying your home down now while you've just got this brand new home will set you up in 4 to 5 years where you'll just be jumping for joy going, I'm so glad we got in and paid down that loan. Or, getting rid of the car loan now so you're getting ready for your second car in 4 or 5 years' time.
Yeah.
By getting in and hitting, even if it's a small problem, just being on top of it.
I just heard this week, someone, paying off their home in 12 years has only 3 years to go. But because of the higher interest rates, they've had to increase their loan repayments even further to be able to, achieve that goal of getting that home paid off in 12 years. And so what they've done is, cut things out of the budget to actually increase their loan repayments in this season so that they achieve their goals, so that in 3 years' time, the home loan is gone and they can send their child to the school that they want to send them to. So they're looking at the big picture and going, this is what I need to do in this season so I can have a great next season.
So maybe for other people listening, the problem is to get ready to buy a home, start saving, start using strategies to work towards your first home instead of waiting for interest rates to come down. Get ready to actually buy a home. Because again, if you wait around, it could be a bigger problem down the line.
Yep.
Okay, tip number 3 is to install good habits. So what do we mean by this, Archie? Is this about winning the lotto?
Mate, we spend a huge amount of money on gambling in Australia. And, we were just looking at some stats there before and, $7 billion a year on lotteries during the cost of living crisis. So we've actually increased what we're actually spending on lotteries here at the present time.
Highest record ever.
Yeah. So that sort of points to us that, one, the marketing's working. that people are actually spending more in that area. But also, number 2 is like, it's a habit where we're trying to win something here. And look, I see this play out in so many cases. People are looking to buy the house that's going to give them a big win, or they're looking to buy the car that's going to give them a big win, or get the job that's going to give them a big win. It's this mentality around, we've got to win. Some people take it to an extreme. If you go shopping with them overseas where there's bartering, it's embarrassing. In how far they've got to go to win when they're bartering, with some poor peasant on the street. And it's that win, it's that, that habit of I must win. So what we want to help people to understand is have some good habits, where you're still winning, but understand what a good habit is, versus a habit that's not going to take you where you want to go.
Or maybe we should rephrase this point to install winning habits. What are the habits that are actually going to help us win? Because lining up for the lotto each week, 1 in 100 million chance, probably not a winning habit.
Yeah.
I guess we all already have habits that we're doing every day. So we might as well get those habits working for us and not against us.
Yeah, maybe we need to replace some habits.
Actually, if you look at that 1 in 100 million chance of winning, if you put it over your lifetime, and you're doing it every day, there's probably no chance of actually winning. But some people are still doing it over their whole lifetime, hoping that one day they're going to get that win, that major win, not a small win, a major win in the lotto there. So let's look at some good habits. My first one would be pay off debt. Debt's not a winner. It feels like winning, when you're able to drive out of the car lot with that brand new car. But using debt to do that is definitely not a winning habit. So we want to get debt paid off. That's my first one. What's yours, Lachy?
I think just using cash to pay for things, using your own money and not putting things on a credit card. That's definitely a winning habit. The ability to save up and buy something with cash and, feel good about it because you do have the money for it.
Yeah.
And you're in control of your money.
Oh, yeah. How about you, Tim? What's your winning habit?
Yeah, I think this all comes off of winning the battle before you get into the battle. And that's where having a good cash flow system in place really helps. So, okay, this is what I can work with. And maybe then saving for those purchases rather than living off debt. Like you said, the car, that's a big one. And that requires every day making decisions towards a large purchase like that, or a holiday, or even small things like an air fryer, but rather having a plan in place before you get to the decision, and then you can track the progress. I think that's a great habit. So regularly checking and adjusting the cash flow system and making it fun, making it enjoyable, that whole process. But I think that's a pretty life-changing one.
The good thing about the cash flow system is we can use automation to automate that habit. So money is going to our values, to our goals every day, to bills. We can install that habit pretty easily.
And automating can be a great way to get rid of stress, because stress will cause us to run away from problems. So we, if we can get rid of the stress, we can help, focus on doing that, getting those good habits in place there. And my last one, which I'm always telling people about, is invest regularly. If you want a big win, if you invest regularly, like every month, every week, every fortnight, if you're investing money and putting away a small amount all the time, you eventually win the lotto because you're coming out with millions of dollars at the end of 30, 40 years. So like we've got strategies there that can put you at least $3 million ahead over a 30, 40 year period and get you out of debt, no more debt, no more living on debt. So those strategies are just so powerful. It's how you win, but you got to just recognize I'm in a season and this is my season. And at this stage, this is what I've got to do.
Great. So those are just 3 ways we can kind of fall back in love with finances. And just like any relationship, it takes communication, investing over time, and a bit of effort. It really does to make a great relationship. And that also makes a great life. And it's the same. That's really true for our finances. So our encouragement to all of you is that this year, in 24, let's invest in improving our finances. We're on this journey as well together. And so that we can have finances that work and so that you can love your finances rather than avoid them and be stressed by them. They can actually be something that brings joy and in terms of what you can do and what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. Because, we actually use so much energy trying to hide and cover our problems. But that's what we're trying to do here at Waymaker. And it's not just shameless self-promotion. It is like that's why this was born, was that we can have a group of people that can get around, talk about these things that are really important and really does affect our lives, and create tools and a community where we can get energized into loving and solving problems and changing really our financial world. So thank you so much for joining us on season 3. And I'm really looking forward to this year. We're going to have a lot of fun together, hopefully a lot of encouragement, a lot of key ideas and tools that we can use to improve our lives overall. Thank you so much, Archie, for all the wisdom and Lachy as well for all the wisdom from you.
I'm gonna play the moderator role this year, so
which means you're going to bring the whip down when things aren't running well.
Keep the time limit.
Keep the time.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked for this year, the podcast. Yeah, if you've been listening to us since the beginning, big thank you. And just want to say, if you can, subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. And you can also listen to us on YouTube. The podcast is now being fed through YouTube, and we're going to put up some bonus clips this year as well. So you can catch those if you search Waymaker Finance on YouTube. As always, the links are in the show notes, where you can also book a free call with one of our advocates or mortgage brokers to talk about your finances. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Archie.
Cool. Thanks, Lachy. Thanks, Tim. And Valentine's Day, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you apologise and have a great Valentine's Day.
For not taking the rubbish out.
For not taking the rubbish out. Righto. See you guys.